Welcome to this edition of the Phoenix House Seminar Series, produced by the National Clinical Training Department at Phoenix House Foundation. My name is John Gordon, and I'm a National Clinical Trainer. Today, our seminar topic is Support in Recovery. At this time, your group facilitator will hand out a pamphlet that goes along with today's curriculum. The pamphlet is yours, so feel free to write on it. Every now and then we will pause the video and your group facilitator will process some of the information that we discuss with you. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on today's topic, so we want to encourage you to participate. An estimated 20 million people are currently in recovery from addiction to alcohol and other drugs in the United States. They face a variety of challenging issues every day, and any of these issues can propel them headlong into relapse. Unfortunately, far too many relapse. Add to these numbers the estimated 22 million people who need treatment for addiction, and the magnitude of the problem becomes even more significant. After looking at these numbers, the idea that you are alone is almost laughable. Many people mistakenly believe that recovery is simply a matter of abstinence. They say, just stop drinking, using, or engaging in addictive behaviors. Detox them, and they will be in recovery. If it were only that simple, we wouldn't have the problems we have today. The fact is that the field of recovery research is just beginning to grow. Treatment professionals and researchers now believe there are many aspects of recovery and there are numerous pathways to follow. There is no single solution that works for everyone. However, there's one key component that seems consistent in the last 2 decades of research. To truly embark on a journey of recovery, one desperately needs support. This is not a journey that's meant to be taken alone. Today, we'll cover 3 topics. First, we'll define recovery, including giving and receiving support. We will then look at ways of asking for support, and lastly, we'll laser in on social support systems. We hope you'll find this information helpful, and if you have any questions, please take a moment to write them down so that you can ask them of your group facilitator during the time that we pause this video. First, let's define recovery. Recovery is a process of change through which an individual achieves abstinence as well as improved health, wellness, and quality of life. It involves an ongoing process of growth, self-discovery, self-change, and reclaiming the self. As such, recovery is shifting from being crisis-oriented to a solution-focused approach to living life without alcohol or drugs. There are a few guiding principles of recovery: hope, person-driven, peer support, and relational. Recovery emerges from hope. The belief that recovery is real provides essential and motivating message that life can be better. People can and do overcome the barriers and obstacles that confront them. Although you have to do it yourself, you don't have to do it alone. For every person you know using substances, there are 10 or more just like that person that are successful in recovery. There is hope in recovery, and if you can believe it, you can achieve it. It is person-driven. Free will and motivation are important building blocks of recovery and will allow people to define their life goals and paths to achieving them. You can boost your sense of independence by taking an active role in your recovery. Through this process, you can be empowered to take advantage of available resources, to make informed decisions, build on your strengths, and to gain or regain control over your life by initiating recovery. At this point, your group facilitator will pass out a strengths map. The purpose of this map is for you to think about and list what you think your strengths are in different areas. Keep in mind that some of these things that we may not consider strengths actually are. Some of you may have heard the old saying, a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind. This is a myth. In fact, many people with messy desks are prone to creativity and risk-taking, hopefully positive. Even laziness can be a positive thing. It can be the mother of ingenuity. So take a few moments to fill out this map and your facilitator will process it with you. Welcome back. Hopefully that exercise triggered some interesting discussion. Now that we've covered that you are in the driver's seat of your recovery, let's also remember that you cannot do this alone. Support is the cornerstone of addiction recovery. Let's go over some principles of support and asking for help. Recovery is supported by peers and allies through relationships and social networks. It is all about relationships, positive relationships with peers and others that are supportive of the new you. When living with addictions, it's easy to withdraw, especially if we are dealing with some type of hidden pain. Some of us honestly are afraid of depending on others, out of fear of being let down, or maybe our past experiences have taught us it's safer to go at it alone. Others may feel guilty about burdening our friends with their problems. Even some will confidently declare that it's better to be self-sufficient. Unfortunately, each of these responses keeps us further and further away from getting the help we so desperately need. Let's pause for a moment so that you and your group can process this. There are some questions to consider. When it comes to relationships, which of these best describes me? It's safer to go at it alone. I'm afraid of depending on others. I withdraw and isolate without knowing it. I don't trust people, or a description not mentioned here. Also consider, when was the last time I supported someone? What was it like? Mutual support groups play an invaluable role, including sharing experiential knowledge and skills, as well as social learning. It's an important factor to have people who believe in your ability to recover, who offer hope, support, and encouragement, and who also suggest strategies and resources for change. Just having people in your corner is half of the winning formula. It's important to be able to ask for help. Sometimes successfully avoiding substance use means being able to ask someone for help and support. Many of you in this room being able to effectively ask for help is especially important in developing a support system and being successful in the long term. Some believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness, when it is really a sign of strength. Some of us really wonder where to begin when it comes to asking for help. Let's consider this example. What if you're invited to go to a family's house for the holidays and you're concerned that there will be drinking as part of the celebration? In using support, a possible solution might be call ahead and say, I really want to come to dinner, but I'm concerned about being around alcohol. Can I bring a friend? Having a supportive friend call to check with you during dinner, maybe even send you a text to encourage you to maintain your sobriety during the family celebration. Offer the host a party yourself. Then you plus a sober support friend can make sure there's no alcohol or drugs available. Thinking ahead and being strategic about how we use our support is key, but we can also be creative with our support. Give yourself a variety of options. That way you don't feel backed into a corner. When living with addiction, it's so easy to feel absolutely convinced that you are alone in this journey. Every day you may wrestle with the thought, does anyone understand me? Does anyone understand what I'm going through? Can anyone help me? Well, the answer is undoubtedly yes, yes, and yes again. Let's review the wide variety of support you have available on this road to recovery. Concern family, friends, or significant others. Vocational counseling or job resource support. Many individuals may need to learn how to create a resume, how to present themselves during a job interview, and how to fill out a job application. Support with housing or living arrangements. The halfway house or sober living home helps promote long-term stabilization. Mental health counseling or psychiatric care. Marital or family counseling. A family doctor. A social or caseworker. 12-step support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. Spiritual support groups or church-related support groups. Addiction treatment. Inpatient residential, outpatient, or community residence. Phoenix House staff, yes, any of our staff are here to help. Just ask. Peer pressure is something that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. When you were using, peer pressure may have been a factor in your addiction. Recovery experts now recognize the benefit of peer pressure in recovery as well. This is the core of the 12-step groups. Positive peer pressure helps keep individuals in sustained recovery. Scientific research points to these two factors that help individuals sustain recovery. Family involvement. Persons that are in recovery need emotional support and stability of the family. Some family members may need to be involved in family treatment in order to sustain and build a healthy environment for the individual in recovery. This is one of the strongest factors affecting a person's ability to maintain their treatment, to stay clean and sober. Personal connection. The individual must be able to develop and maintain a strong personal connection with at least one therapist or counselor or caregiver. Now, let's take a look at the importance of social support in the recovery process. Human beings are social creatures. From the beginning of time and throughout history, we have always found humans to be in communities. Even when archaeologists discovered historical remains, they almost always find them buried in communities of others. And for recovering addicts who may have damaged or even lost some relationships in the past, this can be a particularly painful realization. Without conscious effort, early recovery can be a lonely time. This is where one tried and true component of addiction treatment, a strong social support system, can bolster long-term recovery. A social network can keep you invested in your recovery program even if there is a temporary loss of motivation, you get discouraged, or become complacent or overconfident. Research suggests that social relationships provide emotional support, a sense of belonging, and stress relief, while higher levels of social connection improve quality of life. Lower levels have been linked to relapse. Here are 4 steps that will help you begin building a social support network. Number 1, asking for help. It is never a sign of weakness to ask for support, though we live in a society that glorifies pulling oneself up by the bootstraps. It is largely a cultural myth. Social support is a key resource that promotes long-term recovery. A support network may include friends, family, colleagues, 12-step groups, a sponsor, a therapist, a spiritual advisor, and others. Loved ones typically want to help out but don't know how. Left to their old habits and roles, the family members may enable rather than support. It is critical for loved ones to feel and be included in your recovery process as support. Family members also have a role to play when treatment ends, encouraging you to follow your continuing care plan, holding boundaries, staying alert to signs of relapse. Sometimes you may call and they're not available. What do? You call someone else, and you keep calling until you get someone. Another reason it's important to have a list of peers, family, and friends that support your recovery. Number 2, choose wisely. Early recovery offers a chance to build a support system from scratch. When deciding who to look to for support, ask the following questions. Do they misuse drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex, or other activities? If in recovery, how long has this person been walking the walk? Does this person lead a healthy, balanced life? Is their attitude positive or negative? Do you feel uplifted being around them? Healthy social support is both honest and encouraging, challenging and compassionate. It comes from people who truly care about your success and are equally supportive whether you are excelling or struggling. The right combination of supporters will help you feel motivated in your recovery process without crossing the line into unrealistic thinking or enabling. At this point, the facilitator will pass out a peer inventory map. This is similar to the strengths map, but now we will look at your peers and friends. The facilitator will pass out this blank map and you can list your friends who are important to you, what makes them important, and finally, how will they support your recovery? Honesty is one of the cornerstones of the recovery process, and it will be important for you to apply that to this exercise. Number 3, attend 12-step, SMART, or rational recovery meetings. While friendship in general is important for well-being, research shows that a specific type of social connection aids in recovery, bonds with other recovering addicts. By participating in fellowship with other people in recovery, we can learn effective coping skills and problem-solving strategies from their peers and share their experiences, strength, and hope. Finding a home group may take some time. Some groups are more cohesive than others. The only way to find out is to try a variety of meetings. Once you find one that feels right, it's important to attend regularly, share your story when you're ready, volunteer to help, exchange phone numbers, and hang around to socialize before and after meetings. Also, online social networking communities can be a helpful complement, not a replacement, to peer group involvement. And not just going, but participating. Say something, share, let people get to know you and then get to know them. Remember, it's about the relationship. Number 4, be patient. Finding good friends requires being a good friend first. Social ties can call on you to practice the positive communication skills, including honesty, assertiveness, and empathy. Everyone is on a journey to find meaning and fulfillment in their lives and will make mistakes along the way. It's important to be patient and ask for the same in return. Fellowship and camaraderie lighten what can be a heavy load in early recovery. No one can do it on their own, and fortunately, you don't have to. The journey may feel solitary at times, but with help from a strong social support network, it doesn't have to be lonely. Really, no one in your life to ask for help from. Work on building a support network, starting with your professional support, like your counselor. When asking for help, be gentle, no demands, threats, or insults. Carry in your wallet a list of phone numbers that you can call. Now, as we wrap up and summarize our seminar today, here are a few tips. In learning to ask for help, start small. Practice on safe people with simple requests. Try to ask for help before the problem becomes overwhelming. But you can call anytime, before, during, or after a hard time. Prepare how you'll handle if the person you ask for help can't or won't help. In asking for help, you don't have to spill everything. Choose what you are ready to share when you are ready to share it. Asking for help makes you stronger and more independent in the long run. Thank you for listening to today's seminar and for your active participation. We want to encourage you to continue the dialogue started today, and please discuss any relevant information with your individual or group counselor, as we are here to help. And remember, the trouble is, if you don't risk anything, you risk even more. I know for some of you, it may feel like a big risk to ask for help, but it is incredibly important to learn to take that risk and reach out. Trust me, it's worth it. Be well.